know?
Yeah.
That's the whole key for learning something is always tapping into stuff that you don't know. So last time I came, a group of people, they wanted me to line up stuff based on something historically they already know. That's not knowledge. It seems to be knowledge once you already know that. You're always supposed to push the envelope of stuff that you don't know. The other stuff becomes damn near jack off. And so many words after you have got that. That's it. So it can easily turn into dogma. The key is to always break that stage, because that's what a lot of groups get caught up in. And if you notice throughout America, there's just tons and tons of groups. Tons and tons of people following other people. And everybody got their little section. I'm a Hebrew. You see what I'm saying? I'm Islamic, I'm Egyptian, I'm this, I'm that. But the key is, the world is, we're in the modern world. We're separated by thousands of years of those particular systems. Now, at one time, you used to go into these systems, and that system was complete enough for you to get the complete nourishment and the complete information, although it might have been a different culture, but you can get the exact information as a person on the other side of the planet from those particular systems, because they were new and they had the wholeness to it. But now we are thousands of years removed, and so everything is in fragments. Egyptian, Hebrew, Islamic, all the stuff is in fragments. So how you do it is you put all of it together. Somebody says, you got all this different stuff like that. They don't understand. That's the way the white boy does things. The white boy looks at it and says, hey, look, there's a bunch of Negroes over there from different nations. And they're going to be arguing over what nation I'm from, or what tribe I'm from, or what type of system I'm from. Meanwhile, I'm the white boy, and I'm not the author of none of that stuff. So how I'm going to get to jump on all of them, I'm going to study all of it. Because he understands that it's in fragments. Because he's the one that has the stuff now. So therefore, he studies all of it, and we're still stuck in a sectarian movement. So we got to get out of the sectarian movement. First of all, we contradict ourselves. If all this shit came from black people, then that means that the white boy didn't invent something strange and new. You see what I'm saying? It all came from us. So we contradict ourselves. We say, all that stuff came from Africa. All that stuff came from the black world. But then again, on the other hand, we want to be descriptive and want to be sectarian and section off something on what we want to deal with when we're supposed to be dealing with all of it. So it's kind of like a research, or it's kind of like a laboratory. You got different formulas, and you putting things together. You see what I'm saying? You putting things together. You see, so, but to stop and become an expert at something means that you literally die. Or you literally, when you become an expert at something, you're only an expert of a certain piece. And so therefore it turns into the same dogma that you was trying to get away from, like religion, you know, like Christianity, and like closed-minded people that don't want to hear nothing. I just want to worship Jesus. So here it is, we become very sophisticated, but then again, certain things appeal to us. So therefore we want to just be Yoruba, we want to just be Bodun, you see what I'm saying? We want to be the yogi system, we want to be all that, and you're supposed to, all of it's in fragments, so you're supposed to take all of this stuff like a damn gumbo, mix it all up in the pot. You see what I'm saying? And that's what research is, because we're living thousands of years removed from the original system, and that's research. You see what I'm saying? Plus, so therefore, I shouldn't come to you with the same old Egyptian mythology. You know who I like that because it's got a picture of Osiris on it. But you might have a book like that. So the things that we need to push the envelope is all of this is our culture. So therefore, I found out that there was missing things because I'm a researcher. First of all, we knew damn well that the white boy couldn't talk. He didn't know Greek language. You know what I'm saying? I know Latin. So therefore, I said, no, the key is to give people what they don't have. And not more of what they do have, because I'm trying to sound like a person that's dropping knowledge on you about the same shit. You might be going, yeah, that's right, you really did drop the knowledge. But then again, if I don't push it into phases that you don't know, then I'm not really doing anything. So therefore, I've been studying about 10 years, well, about 12 years. I've been lecturing as far as my own research, because I studied the whole historical Afrocentric thing, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s. But I got into my own research and started lecturing in 92. So that's going on 7 years this June. I just got into the zone as far as knowing what I'm dealing with, as far as the understanding and the completion of this thing. I just got into the damn zone a little over a year and a half ago. After almost 10 years of study. So my point, and still yet. Now it's one thing to get into the zone, and then you got to research that stuff. So I'm saying there's that much stuff that we don't have to just say, no, I'm not going to deal with that. You got to deal with all of it. You see what I'm saying? Because we're not talking about 6,000 years, 3,000 years. We're talking about almost damn near 1 billion years of advanced beings. Because we got this mentality that we're talking about some old monkey man that came into it to a Homo sapiens sapien. No, we're talking about before the physical, we were still on this planet for 1 billion years, 13 billion years is what USA Today reported last Tuesday, as old as the universe. But it has been proven, even in the Greek mythology, when you go into that thing, that in the beginning, before there was anything, there was Gaia, which means the earth. So the earth was here in the beginning of time. It just wasn't in the physical. Now it's interesting because you got that because one part on this page and stuff, and I did number it, but somehow over the course of running them off, the numbers got messed up. So once it started going, in one of the tables here in the Greek book, in the first book 1, you will see chaos, you will see Gaia, which is earth, chaos, and then the next thing that comes in out of darkness is Gaia, earth. So earth was here in the beginning of time. It just wasn't a physical earth. That's the difference. So you're getting confused. The physical earth doesn't even come into play. All of this went on. It doesn't even come into play, the physical earth, until, the physical earth don't even come into play until Zeus. And that's way on the next page, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Way down here somewhere, the physical earth doesn't even come into play. So all of this is long before that. When you see Zeus, Zeus is called the demiurge and the creator of the physical earth, or what you call Yahweh, or what you call Ra. This is the later day counterpart, but the great bubble was before that. So that particular realm is a later realm and an inferior realm. You see. So therefore, what we're talking about here is, we're literally talking about 13 billion years. Conservative measurement of science. And before we came into the physical. So we usually chronicle things before we come into the physical. You see, the physical could have been about 6,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So when Manetho, when they said, well, who ruled Egypt? He said, well, 3,000 years of dynastic and another 8,000 years of pre-dynastic. You see, so that would be over about, let's see, 3,000, 11, 12,000 years roughly of physical earth. Then he said, well, who ruled before then? He said, that's when a whole bunch of gods used to rule. The same bunch of gods that used to rule became physical. So before they became physical, they were the gods. So we're talking about 13 years in Egyptian science of physical earth, and 13,000 years of physical earth, and we talk about 6,000 years of the chronicle of the whole Hebrew thing. But the point is what we're talking about here is, that's just the physical phase. So therefore, we don't need to be just tapping into just a little bit of this stuff and being satisfied by it. You see what I'm saying? So some people say, why do we got to even learn all of that stuff? Why do all these books and all this stuff? Now, but all this here, see, this is the problem. One guy said, well, how about if I just do a ritual and I can get all that knowledge? That's what first of all, if you don't have the knowledge, of the knowledge that you're receiving, you don't even know what you're receiving. Case in point, what I mean by that is, one sister called me, and this sister could see into the future, and she could see, and this sister was getting all kind of transmission, but she was a staunch Christian, and she thought that she was going to hell, she thought that she was in hell, she just thought a whole bunch of shit, and she was about to kill herself, but she didn't want transmission. That's because the transmissions came, but here was a soul that didn't have the knowledge of what she was seeing. So therefore, it still takes a amount of study. Some people saying, but this is the other part about it, and I understood why God said that you got to study something. It's interesting because when that damn white man will tell you that you need to get certified for your job, and tell you that you gotta have 40-something, so many hours of this stuff to pass this test, you'll burn the damn midnight oil and go get study groups and all this shit to get certified. Or if you want to go and get a new job or anything, like you go to school and you'll study all day just to get certified, you see what I'm saying, to get goddamn minimum wage so you can have some fucking cake. But yet when it comes to your own soul, you won't sit given to it. So you don't even want to read it. And you see what I'm saying? And we're just talking about something like that. So therefore I understood, because we can say, oh yeah, you know, we got all that stuff and all them books and all this stuff here. But then again, that's our laziness. You see, we'll do that shit in a minute for the damn white man. See what I'm saying? In a second. You see? He tell you you get reparations tomorrow if you had to goddamn go and get a degree. And you get that, you go get a degree to get that damn $30,000 to be broke in a fucking week with. But then again, when it comes to our own science and our own soul, we don't want to do that. So therefore, that's the initiation is not necessarily going and following no leader nowhere. The initiation is to just doggone study on your own because the information is here. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the other thing too. We always following some damn body. You see what I'm saying? We always following somebody. And you must understand, people who need people to follow them have psychological problems. I don't give a damn how righteous and how noble they may seem to your ass. You got to be a fucking egomaniac, period. That you don't know the ends all to be all, because if you knew the end all to be all, he wouldn't be no need for nobody to follow. He wouldn't need anybody to follow him. So for the mere fact that he needs that type of doggone security blanket, or that reaffirmation from your ass, means in actuality that he's already fallen short. You see what I'm saying? He's the least complete. So therefore, the gall of a person telling you to follow somebody. See, that's just like that little old honeycomb hideout, Jack and Jill club, where you start up. We always trying to start some clubs. Now what we're talking about here is a group of individuals is trying to get to the end of the path and let the other people out here still fight. And that's what we need to do at this particular time. We don't need a whole bunch of people following. We need students. You see what I'm saying? We need students. Because I can say, as being in the zone, as you go on, and the more you study, the more evil this particular science gets. And that is the key. When you become evil, you got it. And you said, that's some crazy shit. But see what this stuff is doing is breaking the dogma that you've grown up with. What is good? And look what has transpired under the banner of good. Look how you have been killed, maimed, and brainwashed and left for dead under the banner of good. So that evil must be the prize that they don't want you to get to. That's pure energy. If you can get to that, you got it. They just had a whole campaign. One of the biggest movie campaigns in history. The movie was a damn, literally after school special. I'm talking about, you got to intend to like this movie. No science whatsoever. But it didn't matter. The pre-movie phenomenon was so great with this Star Wars thing. You saw, man, this thing, I mean, just the going up to it was so, I mean, humongous. You see, all tell you to turn from the dark side, and the dark side is your own damn subconscious.
Right.
That is the ultimate you, that is the only you.
Right.
So the whole campaign is to tell you to turn from the dark side, and the dark side is your subconscious. It is who you are. You see what I'm saying? And religions, you understand what I'm saying? It's not going to help you on this particular thing. It's not going to help. You got to get out of the beauty of how things sound and face the demon,
Right.
which is who you are, the monster. Now, that might be tragic to somebody that's viewing you as the monster, but if you the monster, I don't have a problem with being Godzilla. You got a damn problem with being Godzilla. You try to run your ass down, but Godzilla ain't got no problem with being Godzilla. Just depends on what side you on. demonized. And they said, oh, in the beginning, a whole bunch of demons used to rule the earth. That's you. That's the part of your soul that you forgot. Man is so removed from his true essence until when he looks back in the past and what he is, it scares the hell out of him. You see what I'm saying? It scares the hell out of him. To some babies, to most babies, adults, are horrifying. Right? You can understand why they want to come to your ass. You know what I'm saying? I'll come up in there, big ass gut. Got some nigga coming in with a big ass beard down the head shit. You understand? That's the baby. So you a baby is to your soul. So when you look at your soul, it's called a monster of the soul. So therefore, we must deal with that particular thing and take the research beyond just what you've heard. So that's the key. The key is, when I do the research, and I can be pleased with what I've done. I got about 100 videos out, and hours of actual information, and I can be pleased with what I've done. But if I wake up the next morning and the earth is the same, and I'm still in the same situation, that means I got more work to do. And it keeps going, and that's how you never is satisfied with the actual work, and it keeps going until you get to the prize. So the guy, the great Brian Tom Wolf, white boy, said, you can never go home. That's a true thing. Even on the physical realm. You know, after you graduated high school, the moment you graduated high school, the town and everything around you, the city and everything around you was never the same. See what I'm saying? As well as any other plateau you have reached, the time you reach that plateau, your surroundings will always different. I finished college in a town, I go back to Columbia, South Carolina, it's not the same. You see what I'm saying? And that's the role of the hero. When you pass the bridge is supposed to disappear from behind you. So therefore, the bridge disappears from behind you, you got to go into the new plateau, the new area. So if you stay on the bridge, oh, I got this, I'm a master. If you stay on the bridge, then what you will turn into, you later on die. But basically, what you teach turns into dog. You see what I'm saying? Turns into dog. So the key is, we're not really interested in what sounds good. We're interested in that particular experimental research that gives us new knowledge. And when it ceases to be new knowledge, then you're not really having knowledge. You shouldn't pay to go see for somebody to tell you something you already know. You see what I'm saying? So let's go into, let's do the libations. Which one is it? This is the one. Do the libations. And then we'll go into the actual lecture. Okay. I'm in Rock. I say ha. I say ha. I say ab. I say who. I say sahu. I say captain. I say cat. I say second. I say hotel. I say sir. I say sir. I say ama. I say nyama. I say ba. I say na. I say no. I say you. I say you. I say cool. I say Eschatology statement. I say Shamira. I say Abato. I say Abazia. I say Yosato. I say Cthulhu. I say Yehotia. I say great old ones. I say great ones. I say Saluted. I say Nessie. I say Ronesi. I say Janesi. I say New. I say Epic. I say Tiger. I say Satan. I say Yanama. I say Tiamat. I say Ishtar. I say Astarte. I say Prometheus. I say Epimetheus. I say Hera. I say Heracles. I say Jason. I say Apollo. I say Perseus. I say Pegasus. I say Chrysalis. I say Medusa. I say Layla. I say Lilith. I say Lilith. I say Allah. I say Leviathan. I say Leviathan. I say Typhon. I say Dracon. I say Draco. I say Soot-Typhon. I say Soot-Nested. I say Soot-Har. I say Osel. I say Asep. I say Mim. I say Minimus. I say Mintu. I say Mintu Sibara. I say Mintu Satan. I say Ramanatu. I say Ashashetu. I say Thunderdog. I say Sunbear. I say Thunderbird. I say Kachidi. I say Tayit. I say Yin. I say Yang. I say Yin and Yang. I say Nineveh. I say Kutumi. I say Kansu. I say Pataleta Unra. I say, okay, let's go on. Imuna. I say Muzimu. I say Muzimu. I say Kemara. I say Kingu. I say Marambo. I say Rarenki. I say Sansabon, I say Kalapon, I say Sansabon, I say Kalipon, I say Denea, I say Chio, I say you'll holler it now. Listen, I say A for the Buddha, I say Sephra, I say Kela, I say Shakma, I say Maya, I say God, I say Tiferet, I say Chesed, I say Gebra, I say Naksa, I say Ha, I say Yaseh, I say Malku. Keep going. Okay. All right, let's see. Hosea, I say Tahuti, I say Maya, I say Ta, I say Sus, I say Ra, Amin-Ra, I say Heteru, I say Anbu, I say Aset, I say Nelper, I say Sashet, I say Sekmet, I say Selket, I say Sekmaya, I say Brahman, I say Vishnu, I say Ravini, I say Ramachandra, I say Shiva, I say Sita, I say Rudra, I say Hama, I say Lakshmi, I say Vinsiya, I say Dhammapada, I say Papagate, I say Loa, I say Bridget, I say Martha, I say Adivati, I say Okureli, I say Okushengo, I say Luli, I say Eloedo, I say Zaka, I say Fumo, Ipe, I say Alake, I say Oshosi, I say Olun, I say Olun, I say Watala, I say Olua, I say Oluna, I say Olun, I say Shengo, I say Oshun, I say Lega, I say Yiminya, I say Rishi Oku, I say Oy, I say Only Tutu, I say Only Tutu, I say Ibi Tutu, I say Tutu Aleba, I say Koki Ka, I say Koki Orun, I say Koki Iyo, I say Koki Oku, I say Koki Intan, I say Koki Apata Baba, I say Akababa Baya, I say Mojo Rake, I say Mogo Itun, I say Mogo Itin, I say Mogo Risha, I say Mogo Iku, I say Hirale Arun, I say Ikamase Ogo, I say Babala Sayu, I say Ogo, I say Ikamase, I say to all gods known and unknown, I say to all ancestors known and unknown, I say 1, 2, 3, start calling out your ancestors. 1, 2, 3, call them. I say, 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 I say. To all ancestors known and unknown, I say. To all gods known and unknown, I say. All right. Well, let's get to what's going on. First of all, I wanted to point this out because it just hit me that there ain't shit said. And this is the problem here. Did you know Betty Shabazz was a Kool-Aid member? Betty Shabazz, this is some amazing stuff. But I'm not pulling your leg. You can go and buy the book yourself. In the book, Our Kind of People. It's called Our Kind of People. It's a guy in there, you know, he's just the black guy that's writing on the black elite. In there, as you know, as Steve Coke has taught you that your Kool-Aid, the feminine, female counterpart of the Kool-Aid is called your Lynx. Your Lynx Club. You got your Jack and Jill, you got your Lynx. Well, anyway, in that particular book, they have a picture. I'm going to get the guy's name. Lawrence Otis Brown is the name of the guy's book. Our Kind of People. Lawrence Otis Brown. And in there, they got a picture of the Lynx, which is the female counterpart to the Negro Kool-Aid. And in there, they got Betty Shabazz on the front of the road. And I was like, let me look at this again. I said, maybe this is the person that looked like Betty Shabazz. And but it has her name, and Betty Shabazz is one of the sister members of the Lynx. Which now, come on now, I don't want to hear this and make it. So the first thing we'll do, our minds start making up excuses. Maybe she didn't know what it was. That's some bullshit. You know what it is. She went and got a PhD, a master's degree. First of all, in order to even get into those particular groups, you got to know the history. Do not ever pledge a fraternity, you got to know the history. So I don't want to even hear about, she didn't know what time it was. You see what I'm saying? Now, I know that she probably was upset because they killed Malcolm, and I know that's a hard thing to go about, to go through. But my point is also this. You also knew that there was an element of the government that was in there conspiring against it. I'm quite sure that you weighed all the conspiracies. Although you did, I know damn well if a person is married to this man, she's going to weigh all the conspiracies, all the theories, all the ends. So my point is that she knew that was a government input also. Why the hell you go and join the government? You see what I'm saying? So my point is, for who she was, as far as Malcolm's wife, for her to go and join the doggone Kool-Aid, in so many words, the links are the same thing, you can see why she died all for death. I know it's quiet. Nobody don't want to talk about nobody. But you got to realize, people don't mean you no damn good. You see what I'm saying? And my point is that all people be suffered enough not to let nobody off the damn hook. See what I'm saying? So my point is, here it is, she's up in a particular group, and when it all went down, she just didn't die instant there. She hung around for a couple of weeks and something. And you gotta understand, it pays not to sell out. And she hung around a couple of weeks in that hospital room knowing that there was somebody else in the apartment complex, because she even said several times that there was somebody else up in there. So she knew that the same government that she fought to uphold with this lynch bullshit is the same people took her ass out when the boy got hit. See what I'm saying? So that's it tells you, it pays not to sell out. But I wanted to say that because there's some things that's going on. This particular book is a manifesto, which means this is a coming out book of the government / Goulet's plan for Black America. It's like the final solution. So a series of books will come out to establish the final solution as the manual or the blueprint of what the government is going to have be done in the future. You understand where I'm coming from? So in order to make a manifestation of this new black elite, they have to bring it out. Your coming out party in America. So it's not like this little boy, this guy's just writing this book. You know, writing this book on the black elite. This is systematically done by the government. Now the key is, with this particular thing is, the government is saying, if we're going to the final solution with black people, if we're going to bring black people into the fold, that means not just a struggling class of people over the years, and not just the thing in the 70s where you make people think they're doing good. If we're going to have a people that's going to take their place among the society of the other ethnic groups, which seem to have their shit together, if we're going to pick that, we're going to make sure that those particular black people are the only ones that we can stomach, and the only ones that we will say is worthy to be that. With the elite leader is going to be a certain black elite. So therefore you have to kill off the rest of the doggone so-called degenerates, the so-called underclass. And you saw the wall on that the last 15 years, or at least the last 13 years. We'll say when Minnie Bias died, and the rest of the country learned about this shit called prayer. And then all things followed. But if you want to even go back, with the introduction of AIDS in 1982, 81, 82. But then again, on the other hand, that AIDS took a thing from the homosexual only to the black man. My key is that the war has been on, basically, as you know, based on the underclass. We talked about the killing in the project, and at least 20 million black people we know is dead since 1990, based on that. But the key is, if we are going to have a type of elite people, we're going to wipe out this particular underclass group. That's the first thing. Well, any type of underclass means that's going to be devastating to the country. Because white people, as a state of apathy, growing fat from the spoils. You understand what I'm saying? As a state of laziness, they ain't going to do no damn work. You see what I'm saying? But no matter how much they tell you about this is a technological society, you will always, as long as there's a physical earth, which is diminishing, you're going to always need some physical labor. The key is, if you were going to wipe out that underclass group, you got to replace them with the physical labor. And the number one physical labor across the country now is the Hispanics. So basically, they had a big Hispanic summit last week in Atlanta. Now all of a sudden, the Hispanics are the predominant people in all the cities. Chicago, what the hell is this Hispanic motherfucker doing in Chicago? Let alone whether we can say, well, this is the Midwest. What about Atlanta, Georgia? What about South Carolina? What about North Carolina? What about Virginia? So they basically say, well, we can take our underclass people that we have to wipe out, and we can replace them with the Hispanics that can work for $19.85 not minimum wage, as well as no attitude. Because they know that their result of talking back to the man on the job is Mexico. So we can work them like slaves, no attitude, and I'm telling you, this thing is huge. They have literally, within the last 10 years, especially the last 5 years, replaced most of the country with Hispanic. And when the last time you saw them on the corner bumming? When the last time you saw them without a job? They still poor as shit, walking around with damn no shoes up in the winter, but they got jobs. So they say we have the actual worker class. We can work for nothing, and therefore white people, you see what I'm saying, don't have to do the garbage if we take the Negroes out. So the black people that's left is the black elite, as well as the black people, the up and mobile black people that we trained from college from the late 1800s on up, as well as the amount of black people that was able to pull themselves out of poverty just by hard labor. You see what I'm saying? You see, so basically, we're talking about a good little healthy group, but mainly wipe out the underclass. And so they will take themselves as a form of the other elite society. You see what I'm saying? And so this particular book is a manifesto or a literary document to introduce the black elite, you see what I'm saying, to the rest of the world. You see. And these are the people that they will pick as the people that they can stomach, that can stick around. Now we all know this is their plan. We know that that's not going to happen, because we know that there's some big shit happening. We all know that. But my point is that this is not stopping them from taking their machine home. You see, based on their estimate, they plan to stick around. Although it's not in their favor, they plan to stick around, and they figure if they're going to still be here, they're going to make sure that they got a bunch of Negroes that's what you call clever. So the key is, on the other hand, you have the D'Souza's book, The End of Racism. India, here go motherfuckers from India. Now they got thousands of people in Bangladesh on the streets, bumming with cups, just thousands, the most homeless and poverty-stricken country on the planet, damn near. They'll make Haiti look like a paradise. And yet he got the gall to come over and write a book about black people, and in so many words say that we are degenerates, as far as genetically inferior. But the key is that they have set this particular strain of things to these strain of books, the bell curve, that book, there's a new book out in the underclass, as well as just the news, to say that we need a final solution, and the final solution is an elite class of black people only. You see what I'm saying? And so these Negroes are in on this shit, they done sold motherfuckers out too. You see? Now, in the back of that book 2, you're going to see there's going to be a section in there on the counterfeit spirits, which when we go into this thing in a few minutes, that's talking about our people. I'll go back into that, and it has a lot to do with all this stuff. But I don't want you to read it now. It's in book 2 that is found in these Gnostic texts. I don't want you to go into it now, because I want you to listen on what's going on. But anyway, this is what's going on as far as this particular guy's book. Because he's a bootlegger. He's something. I think he's a bootlegger. Whatever, because I know damn well he ain't talking about him and going national and calling himself an elite. You understand what I'm saying? If he want to be a part of them and stuff, he ain't going to doggone destroy him. So my point is he's all in the clique. You see. And that's a part of the whole thing to announce this so-called black elite. You see, to announce this so-called black elite. Now, I want to get my paper out and go into the lecture. But on the other hand, that also brings up this particular thing, and I think I explained this to Brother Darrell. I wanted to get into this particular thing right now, and that is this. Apparently, the reason why, if you're noticing, white people really can't seem to not do good. I mean, when the last time you saw white people driving an old car? I mean, all that shit is from 1990 on up. And it's an old car, it's a classic. As soon as you go into the black neighborhood, you see the motherfucker 1980 Regal. With the damn right on the roof rotting out. I'm so sick of that goddamn big ass Gallows. Not a convertible in collar, but I'm gonna take it. The white boy, he gonna drive an old car. You best believe it's gonna be hooked up. But my point is, it's not necessarily saying that frowning on black people for driving old cars. That's the best you can do. That's why these advanced auto parts is in your shit. The key is, the key here is that what's happening is you literally have a social race of people that's almost down here 40, 50 years ahead of us as far as the way they function. Now, what I'm trying to say here is this. Apparently, with the whole rate, now here it is, 25 years ago, you see what I'm saying, close to 25 years ago, or close to 28 years ago, the country down here burnt down based on an excessive form of liberalism when these crackers turned against the country based on Vietnam and all the whole hippie shit. They got from up under the doggone white man. Now, how is it that you can have a people that basically is this whole liberal thing, and then 10 years later start going down the conservative path? That is because the major meeting said, look, if we can conserve with this Reaganomics thing starting in 1980, and said we'll have to just doggone cut the fat, and when we cut this fat, we're going to have to suffer a little bit. So, you know, in the 80s you have a big influx of doggone homeless white people, and all of a sudden they just tend to just disappear. They disappeared by the 1990s. The key is that they said if you can just hold on that and chew the fat, what we're going to do here is, in the 1990s, we're going to give each American citizen, and I let you know that you're not a citizen, you're a civilian. They're a citizen. Go get the movie Starship Troopers and check out the action and listen to what they're actually saying about their citizens and their civilians. Right. Each American citizen who actually is white, you will get paid a stipend of $30,000 to $40,000 added into your bank account and on your credit. So these people literally now are getting paid to be American citizens. And how it's done is it goes through the bank account or the credit line or whatever the deal is. So therefore, you don't get it. You don't see them picking up no checks. And everything is almost automated. Everything is direct deposit. So you go down and pay the light bill. You go down and pay the light bill, you only see black people. When the last time you saw a line full of white people paying any kind of bills? Because that's all hooked up. I go around and pay the damn light bill, gas bill. I'm in line with 400 Negroes. So that means they have gone into a whole other social, cultural system that's 50 years ahead. Now, I don't give a damn if you make $10,000 a doggone year, $15,000 or $20,000 a year. If I gave you $10,000 extra dollars, that would be a substantial amount to really help you out. Liquid cash. So what about if I'm giving you $30,000 of money? You see what I'm saying? Add it into your bank account. Then you can understand where you can be a fail-proof system as being citizens. And some of the stipulations is you can't marry outside your race, because they ain't going to have no joint account with no niggas getting into the money. Yeah. Number two, you can't tell nobody because you can be easily put out. Immediately put out. Number three, you got to pay all your taxes. You see, you got to have a job. You see what I'm saying? Well, you don't necessarily have to have a job. You got to be on a certain bracket, but you got to be financially able. And number four, when you get to a certain bracket, the money automatically cuts off. You see what I'm saying? And reform back in the system. This is the way they got this thing hooked up. And so, and they bring that too, talking we all American citizens. Why don't you do this? They get paid free money. But on the other hand, the country says we got to cut out all entitlement groups. So all your affirmative action and all your black entitlement groups and stuff, that's money out of white people's pocket. So therefore, on the other hand, they would not be able to get this free stipend. So each white citizen is getting $30,000 to $40,000 extra money. And number two, you pay taxes to pay them. And number three, the banks are in all on it. Because you think of all this thousands of money that people down in the big ass high rises and making downtown. Where's all the money going? How much money can you make? But the whole thing was to make a corporate system, and the corporate system can literally pay off the citizens. About like they're doing some Saudi Arabia. You know, some people in places in Saudi Arabia, the people don't have to work. The people get, everything is free. Well, that's the way it is with now the white citizens. The banks and all that, you know, and the banks say, well, the only thing we got to do is just promise corporate welfare. So they get tax breaks, and they get all types of stuff, and they just put in this particular system. So we're talking about one of the biggest pyramids ever. You see what I'm saying? This is what's going on, and this is how advanced they are. I'm just going to do some hard copy before we get into the lecture. This is how advanced they are. You see? Very key to understand that type of thing. Now, also, too, they just had Duke Ellington's 100th birthday and all this, you know, most of 99. And it's interesting because the day that they had the actual, April 26th, I think, the day that they actually had the actual birthday, they didn't make any mention about it on no major news. As well as Entertainment Tonight, where they have a little birthday, they have a little dog up there, says, no, 2 years old. But when it came to Duke, they didn't make any mention of it. You see what I'm saying? And the only one that mentioned it was McNeil and Lyra or something, but you know, that's PBS, nobody watches that. But the key is that they didn't want to introduce the greatest society, you see what I'm saying, to the genius of this particular man, because this particular man, he wasn't just a jazz artist. He was a composer, and probably the greatest composer in America ever. You see. And so therefore they say that you can play music, but you can't compose music, although Beethoven was black and all this type of thing. But they know the majority of us don't know this. So therefore, they didn't want to actually introduce the people to the particular genius and all this type of thing. But the reason why I say this is because I've been talking about the Duke thing before the 100th birthday and all, the 100th birthday. But then again, on the key, this is one of the greatest geniuses in American history. You see what I'm saying? It literally learned how to play most of this stuff down there overnight. You see, overnight. And it was very key. Now, this is interesting here. Now, whether you believe Mr. Louis Farrakhan or whatever sold out, that ain't even the debate. The debate is he did become a little white people friendly over the last couple of years. Now, even the staunch believer in the Nation of Islam would know that type of shit, but he's sitting with everybody around the damn world. You see what I'm saying? So we ain't going to get into that debate whether you can't stomach it. But my point is that he did try to appease those white people the last couple of years, especially when you're going to stand up and take your number one man and chastise it on national TV. Now, I didn't do that. He did that. What I'm trying to make here is this. It pays not to sell out. Because the day that they announced about the prostate cancer and all that stuff playing on, they had the talk radio. That's interesting. They're cutting out talk radio around the country for black people. More music, less talk. More music, less talk to your ass. But talk radio is huge in white people. Huge. So I'm listening to the talk radio, and the day that they announced about him, thousands of people all over the state of Florida and Georgia in that particular area called in, talking shit about Mr. Louis Farrakhan, calling Screwy Louis, and all this kind of stuff here. The old white magic got your ass, and they talked about this man like a dog. And I said, you know what's interesting? You see, when you make a statement about them that they don't like, live with it and stick to your guns. Never try to appease them, because you are the people that forgive. Like that George Wallace bullshit. Niggas voted him back to what? Governor again in 83. You know what I mean? We should have machine gunned every last nigga down in Alabama. Kill all of them. Just for doing a stupid act like that. You're going to vote Wallace back in. You see what I'm saying? In less than 10 years, or whatever the deal is. The key here is, you forgive, white people don't forgive. You turn against them, you are their enemies forever. Ask the Jews about that. The white Jews. They don't forgive. So the day that they announced about Mr. Louis Farrakhan and the Colon thing, them people called from all over the country because it was calling all on your boy, the big fat man, conservative guy, Brother Timber. And they had literally a party, dancing in the street, based on this and I said, you know, and this man did everything he could the last couple of years to appease them. All on C-SPAN, all on this. You see what I'm saying? And I said, look, when it all boils down to it, you can be nice to them all the hell you want. When it all boils down to it, they don't forgive you. So therefore, stick to your guns. You should never sell out. You should never doggone light this shit up. You see, and I saw that, and it even made me feel bad. Because, I mean, they were really giving it to him. And I said, you know what's sad? You know, you done got rid of your boy. You know what I'm saying? You done got rid of college. You see, he's saying shit about white people. And then these same white people saying all this shit about you. You see, so it's very key. So now things is low key, man. People are very embarrassed. People keep the thing, we don't know the brother could be dying. But everything is quiet. You don't hear nothing. But see, that's emotional. When you put a man in the Messiah, and then the Messiah gets sick. Now, you brother, you wrong. That's bullshit. Now, I was in the mosque when Jabril reintroduced the book. This is the one, you should look no further. And it had a whole campaign of going out all the mosques in the country saying that Farrakhan is the one that's going to deliver the people out of bondage. Now, see, you deify a person, and when the person is dying, you know what I'm saying? It's mind-boggling. But the Messiah got cancer. See what I'm saying? Remember this. We are holy men, never get sick. You go get the book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. There's some stuff up in there where they get a damn man, the holy man, the poison, he drank the poison, and the man who gave the poison gets sick. Never get sick. See what I'm saying? So when you have a disease that's a dis-ease. See what I'm saying? So that means that there's not just some stuff going on. We've got one of the best diets in the country. That means some shit going on spiritually. See what I'm saying? So you should have never made that deal with Edgar Brockman and agreed to damn build that hotel. See what I'm saying? Agreed to build that hotel. Or you should have never doggone chastised your boy in public. See what I'm saying? Because that confused more black people. You see. And also, I'm just saying, you know, this is the way it is. But my point is that I saw the way they was dancing around the table. And I said, you know, it's good to stick to your guns and never appease them. You see, because they are your enemy. They're your enemy when you're not doing shit. You see? So now all of a sudden they done told them, look, the Democratic Party, you know, we losing all these Negroes and stuff. You know, some of them ain't voting because they found out all these years that we've been voting, you know, and nothing been happening, and they ain't getting nothing, they've been voting all. And you know, and all this, they said, well, we got to dig up old Jesse. We got to get Jesse Jackson something to do, man, to get the faith back. Yeah. So what they do is to get Jesse ass, he go over there and get these street crackers now. Like these white balls motherfucking smut over here. Exactly. Like they just fell off of damn NFL team. You know the NFL football team put that smut on me when the white boy put that smut on his eyes. They up there and all the picture all clear and shit. Look like this and rubber stamp or some shit you get. A postcard. All clear. They done showed you where the dog. And they doing this bullshit in real life. And they dig up Jesse, they go get him. Jesse bring him back. So they said, now this is how we gonna do it. This is the kid. So they say, you know, Jesse brought it up. Goddamn, Jesse brought him in the back in 1984. Oh, this is some bull. So they said, no, we're going to do it this way. See, if we just say, bring him back and say, good job, Jesse, then you will get the hook. You will see that there's some real fake stuff going on. So what we're going to do is, we're going to hold Jesse. So when Jesse bring him back, we're going to be, oh, man, you went over there and got him. Now, you know damn well, this country is big on treason. Now, they had wallet somebody. And your black ass, get on the plane and fly over there and make some deals with them to bring back a fucking candy bar. When you get off, when you hit the ground, your ass is up under the jailhouse and you let the chill. They kill them off on the street. Now this nigga gonna get on the plane and go over there and make a deal with while they at walk, and you bought that bullshit? And you walk that shit.
They drop the ball.
Whole warfare. All piece of stuff. But you know, that's the way they do things. You see, and here comes Jesse. So now Jesse, so what they did is they said, no, we're going to make it. We're going to make it to the point where we're going to make like we mad. First thing you get all emotional. That's wrong. Jesse went over there and got him out. And they ain't doing it. You know, so now all of a sudden you got a new black leader. And like the man was saying, you know, they have 25 people over there push, whatever. And now they say they got lying around the corner. They're going to reactivate this nigga. They're going to reactivate this nigga. And you love it. Okay? So they got some other people. Now, come on now. It's human behavior. You bought that jump about they shooting a black man 45 times. Come on, man. You shoot a person one time or two times. You get the picture when the man hit the ground. You understand now? And that's for a person that's not trained. You think some trained police officers gonna be that scared that they're gonna shoot a man 45 times and that shit gonna be fake? That's all a part of the fake stuff. They gotta keep you dealing with some stuff to keep you locked down.
Right.
Because as long as they can keep you emotionally messed up.
Right.
You understand? Your spiritual innards don't work. You see? And then they get Rebel Buffon, who was a government agent. Al Sharpton. Here, Al Sharpton tried to go back over to get Asada Shakur. You know, you heard about this? Asada Shakur, he tried to go over and get her. I want to have a meeting with you. To get her out of Cuba, some neutral ground in the Caribbean so the dog government can get him out of her. Come on, man. That's a government agent. So they got him there and called him out. See, first of all, with these particular, this is one thing about it. You must understand this about the game. Real true revolutionaries, if they're about something, the number one goal of the government is to never put them on TV.
Right.
They got white people that you've never seen on TV.
Right.
See what I'm saying? You got people right here, you know that's down with it, you never see them on TV.
Right.
So the mere fact that they keep showing them, that means that that's a government invention.
Right.
So this whole thing with this whole March thing,
Right.
the government said, well, no, we gotta get these people. They gotta keep your minds locked in this catatonic state. You see what I'm saying? Or otherwise, you might wake up. So the first thing we do is we go shoot a Negro 45 times. And so now we have a whole protest that goes on for months. As long as you're locked into that. So about a month from now or whatever, it's going to be something else displayed.
Right.
You see? And they keep this thing going. So this is the other thing. So, we're still dealing with the hard copy on things that's going on. So the NRA was about to use leverage that they were going to go to Denver. They had fought back very strong based on the Constitution. They were going to go to Denver and they were going to literally break all the laws to free up all the guns. But based on the Constitution, you ought to have the right to go in there and buy you a gun. And they were going to free it up. They already had leverage. They said, okay, then we'll let the gun stores do their little check. We got the gun shows. So all the people got to know the hook is to go to the gun shows and you can buy your stuff just like you buy a candy bar. So here go the government, comes in a week before, all you got to do is kill up a whole bunch of children. Everybody get teary-eyed.
Right.
So they come in a week before. They said, no, we can pass about 400 laws off this one instance.
Right.
So they come in there and they kill up the whole people. Now, come on now. Some of y'all now, I don't know about 1940, 1950, but I know 1970 on up. Anytime you go out to the classroom to get a drink of water, you can barely get a drink of water while somebody goes, what the hell are you doing? Where you going? Now these crackers gonna go and put 30 bombs in the school and nobody see them, and big old propane tanks and stuff. Come on. See what I'm saying? Okay, this is the key. They go and blow up the whole school. A week before the meeting. And the meeting was going to abolish all the laws to free up the gun laws. You see? But they killed all these children. The meeting is postponed, and then the government come in and pass the gun laws, and they pass all the laws on the gun shows. And the key is whether you like it or not, these little guns kill children. Whether you like it or not. I would not you don't have a South Africa here? It's because niggas got guns. So I don't care how many Negroes got killed by guns. You know damn well it don't take you. You can't walk down the street without the police getting caught. Police just show their ass when they just figure they got all right. They already made it so that they can get even bolder when they put the little radio up here. This is their key. You get to walk. You want to go their ass, don't get the gun, get that walkie-talkie.
Right.
You get the walkie-talkie, hell, he might pay all y'all niggas some money. Might shine your shoes. He don't even jump unless he got some backup.
Right.
They say, whenever you want to do some stuff, don't go for the gun. Go for the walkie-talkie. You go for the walkie-talkie, 4 or 5 Negroes around, he might say, hey man, come on, let's go split a 40. It's cracking it, kid. You know? But, so they're already cocky. Now just imagine how these damn police would be, and the only reason why they go over this thing, they'd be a little scared when they go over there, because they go, we can't get too bad now, because these Negroes got guns. Somebody might just strip out and shoot me. So, even though they're cocky, they still got a little bit of doggone, regulation, you see. They got a little bit of, reserve about things. But imagine if nobody had no guns. Oh, but you're wrong, that's just about some the gun regulation. They're just trying to regulate. Now, that's some bullshit. Now, come on. They ain't trying to regulate nothing. That's when you pass the laws, based on regulation. But you don't realize anytime you pass a law, that's the front page, gun regulation. But when you get the actual laws to pass, it means that you can't sell no guns. See what I'm saying? Now this particular thing is to deal with several laws. Number one, immediately they start saying, well, what was the parents doing? Well, we need to hold them responsible. That's the law. So that even though they had that, we could hold them responsible, parents responsible, and your kids go out, that's still kind of irrational. So therefore, when they did this, an irrational actual thing that happens gives you an irrational response. An extreme case gives you an extreme response. So as a result, what happens here is this. Now, they can pass that law. Well, you can get locked up for your child doing something. The other law is that Jesse Jackson and them is trying to deal with this anti-hate law. So, first thing they do is they go find the one black boy in the doggone school and blow his brains out. Who just so happened to have a goddamn process in there, 99. Come on, man. A fucking process like James Brown in 99. They go in and find this little boy and blow his brains out. So therefore, that set up the whole hate law thing. Right. You thinking it's for Ku Klux Klan, hate law stuff is for brothers and sisters like me or anybody else. It's coming to give you some science. Right. So therefore, even though you might come up in a place to tell the truth about some people, for the mere fact you talk about some people means that you can be locked up. And Jesse Jackson is behind this stuff. Right. See what I'm saying? So they got the first installment on the hate law thing when they killed that little white homosexual boy out there, on that college campus. All this stuff, so they might have 4 or 5 different laws they can pass based on this one incident. The other incident is, you got this white boy called Merlin Manson. Now, no matter how strange this crap looks, this is one of the last few heroes in the country. Because he's going around talking shit against Christian fascism. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're talking about religious intolerance. How the fuck you supposed to be some stuff, excuse the expression, where Christianity is so dominant to the point where as nobody got nothing, and they got the Christianity to the point where it's got the monopoly on all things good. You understand what I'm saying? So he's got a one-man crusade against Christian fascism. By the time somebody get in these preachers' ass. So the key here is, he's waking people up to new ideas, because the Christianity, as well as religious dogma on all levels, whether you were dogma in Islam, religious zealots in Christianity, or Judaism, or whatever, that dogma locks down the spiritual realm. So therefore, he was going around attacking this stuff. So therefore, the first thing they did was they said, well, them children, they listen to Merlin Manson. And they got these people, they wear all the black, they call them goths. They said, they deal with death. You see what I'm saying? And so they paint their face white and all that. But see, the key is they got to cut down the death realm, because the death realm is the true thing. We're going to get into that today too. You see what I'm saying? And I try to explain to you based on these cycles why that is that way. You see what I'm saying? So they got to cut down on that. So my point is that any type of free type of thought that used to come along with America, this is just not just a war with black people, this is white people. Any type of thing that is an experimentation where you have a creativity that brings about a change, is trying to cut that down. So we talk about a conservative, Puritan state. You be like down there Amish. So they got the black elite, get on it. So they pumping the Kurt Franklin, the damn Wyans, and all that shit. See what I'm saying? Oh, it ain't about no Jesus, it ain't about no Lord. It ain't about none of that shit. It's about domination and control. The same imperialistic missionaries that put your ass down is the same thing they're trying to uphold under this whole Christian doctrine or whatever religious doctrine. You should be talking about a world system of control, and they got shit to do with spirituality or Jesus. You gotta know what time